Alright, boys and girls, we're going to start working on factors and multiples. This will be a succession of lessons leading into fractions to hopefully get ready for CRCT. I'll try to do this in short, small segments so you can look at them one at a time. There will be points during the lessons where I will put problems up on the screen and ask you to pause your video to work those out, then to turn it back on and recheck your answers and try to figure out where you're making mistakes and where you might need more practice. And what we're going to start off with first is factors. If I've got the number 5, I want to know what numbers are factors of 5. And when I'm speaking of factors, I want to know what numbers will divide into 5 without any remainder. The only two numbers that divide into 5 without a remainder, of course, are 1 and 5. And we refer to that, we always say the number 1 is always a factor, and the number itself, when we use that terminology, we're talking about this particular number. So when we speak of the number itself, that simply means whatever number we start out with that we're working on. If I use the number 9, and I will take factors of 9, I know that 1 goes into 9, and I know that 9 goes into 9 because that's the number itself. We're going to refer to these as partners. If 1 goes into 9, it has to go into it 9 times. And 9 also has a factor of 3. So, now 3 will not have a factor because, a partner rather, because 3 times 3 itself equals 9. Now, let's try the number 4. If I want factors of 4, I've got the number 1. And since 4 is an even number, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, all even numbers, since 4 is an even number, we know that it will always be divisible by 2. And then of course I've still got 4, the number itself. Now, this is just the very basics of doing factors of numbers. I want to add something to the picture now. Let's use number 10. If I want factors of 10, 1. If I look for its partner, we know it has a partner of 10 because 1 goes into 10 times. 10 is an even number, so it must be divisible by 2. If 2 goes into 10, it must go into 10 5 times. So this is my partner here, 2 and 5 and 1 and 10. Now, look at those two numbers. I've got 4 and 10. I want to go back now and look and see which numbers are common to both. Well, 1 is in both of them, so I can put a circle around those two. 2 is a factor of both of them, so I can put a circle around both of these. 4 is not here, neither is 5 or 10 a factor of 4. So these, at this point, are no longer of any use. So I can say that my common factors of 4 and 10 are 1 and 2. Since 1 and 2 are my common factors, I want to know which one is the biggest. Well, of course, 2 is the biggest one. We're going to refer to that from this point as GCF. And GCF simply refers to the term greatest common factor. And you're going to hear this term a lot when you're working with fractions and when you start reducing. Because when we begin to work on reducing fractions, this is what you'll need to look for right here. Let's try a different one. Let's go back and do 9 once again. We had 1, 3, and 9. That one we know. Let's do 12 this time. 1 is a factor, which means 12 is a factor because it has to have a partner. It's an even number, so 2 must be a factor. But if 2 is a factor, it needs to have a partner. That partner is going to be 6. 3 will also go into 12. But it needs a partner, so that partner is going to be 4. So all of these numbers will go into 12 without a remainder. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. So these are all factors of 12. These are factors of 9. If I go back and pick out my common factors, I've got 1 and I've got 3. So my common factors of both are 1 and 3. So that makes my greatest common factor the number 3. Okay? Now, I want you to try this one. I want you to put down 8 and 12, pause your video, and I want you to write the factors of 8 and 12, then find the factors that are common to both, and then determine what your greatest common factor is. So pause and do that right there. Now, if you did this correctly, let's see what we've got. 8 has factors of 1, 2, 4, and 8. 12 has factors of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. These are the factors of each one. 1, 2, 4, and 8 with 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12 with 12. Check and see if that's what you had on your paper. If you had all of these, then you're in good shape on these two. Now let's go back and check and see which ones are common. One, of course, it will always be common, regardless of what your numbers and factors are. One will always be common. Even numbers, so 2 is going to be a factor of both. We can circle that one. And we also see that 4 is common to both. Now 3 is not a factor of 8, we can cross that out. 8 not a factor of 12, cross that out. Same with these two here. So what you should have left is 1, 2, and 4. If these are the numbers you came up with as common factors, you are in excellent shape. And then at that point, you should pick out 4, of course, will be your GCF. Now, this is what we do with our factors. Now, we're going to go just one step further with this, and we'll conclude this lesson so you can do some practice. I want you to do one more for me. I want you to do 9 and 15. Pause your video now and do the factors of 9 and 15. Okay, let's see how we did on that one. 9, of course, we've already done a couple times. That would be 1, 3, and 9. My factors of 15 would be 1, 3, 5, and 15. So now if I go back and pick common factors, 1, of course, as we always say, and then 3 is common to both. The rest of these are no good. So my common factors of 9 and 15 are 1 and 3. My greatest common factor, of course, is 3. And hopefully that's what you had on your paper. All right, one more practice set before we quit. We'll make this one a little bit larger, but I think at the point now you can handle this. I want you to do the factors of 16 and 20 for me. Pause for a minute and work that, and then come back and check and see what you've got. Okay, this will be a little bit longer. Let's look at this one. 16, I will have 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. Check and see if you had all of those for 16. Now factors of 20, 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. Those are all of my factors of 20. Check and see that you had all of those on both of those. If so, you're in good shape. Let's go a little bit further. Let's go back and circle our common. If you chose 1, 2, and 4, you're in good shape. So, 1, 2, and 4. And if we do that, then our greatest common factor, of course, has to be 4. Greatest common factor has to be 4. Now, before I stop this lesson, I'm going to show one more thing. This is basically on factors, but I want to show you why we use that GCF. We'll just leave this up here and come over here to the side and take a look. Now, what we're going to do with this, we're going to then take these two numbers, 16 and 20, that we've been finding factors of, and we're going to turn that into a fraction. And if I've got the fraction 16 over 20, to reduce this fraction down to its simplest form or lowest terms, either terminology is good, I want to use this greatest common factor, because that means the greatest number, the largest number that goes into both 16 and 20 will be this GCF of 4. So what I want to do now is come back over here and divide both top and bottom, 16 and 20, by 4 over 4. If I divide 4 into 16, it will go 4 times. We're going to move it down here. If I divide 4 into 20, it will go 5 times. So that tells me that the fraction 16 over 20 in lowest terms is 4/5. Okay, 4/5 is my simplest form for this fraction right here. And we'll work some more on reducing in a subsequent lesson. But right now, I just want to be sure that you're comfortable with the factors and finding your GCF. This will be very important. You can look at your workbook, textbook, and find some more practice problems for this. But we've had 2 or 3 examples, so hopefully you did well on that. And we'll continue with another lesson later.